beautiful day in Madison, Wisconsin for the Allstate Saturday kickoff at legendary Camp Randall Stadium. Today the Badgers welcome the Miami Redhawks to town. And it will also be the first home game as head coach for Madison's favorite son, Paul Chryst. Hi again, everybody. Welcome to Madtown on this beautiful Saturday, the second of the college football season. Alongside my partner, former Pitt quarterback John Congemi, I'm Clay Matvick. And John, I don't think Paul Chryst is thinking so much about homecomings today as he is seeing improvement in his team after that 18-point loss to Alabama.
I think you're right. I think Paul Chryst and the team got caught up in the magnitude of who they were playing and where they were playing last week. They have to get back to finding an identity of what this team is, who they are offensively, and that means for Wisconsin and Paul Chryst establishing the line of scrimmage with that tough downhill running game. Defensively, that means tackling in space and making some game-changing plays. I think the focus this week after looking at that Alabama tape is more on this team and how they can improve and who are they in 2015.
Now, they only had 40 rushing yards as a team last week. They want to see improvement there for sure. Corey Clement was very limited because of the groin strain, and that's going to actually keep him sidelined today. So backups Taiwan Deal and Dare Ogunbowale will get most of the carries.
And that means that offensive line needs to get it going. I mean, Corey Clement, Paul Chryst said he's our best skilled football player, so it's going to be a big loss for Wisconsin.
Miami won the toss. They deferred. Wisconsin will have it first, and it's Natrell Jamerson coming out of the end zone with a big return to the 35-yard line, and a flag is down on the first play of the game. Referee Tony Cannella today. It's a MAC officiating crew.
During the return, holding 48 off kicking team, receiving team. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. First down.
Joel Stave and the Wisconsin offense will get it going here. Stave, the fifth-year senior, came to Wisconsin as a walk-on in 2011. Today will be his 30th career start.
Well, he played well last week, and I think Paul Chryst has a lot to build on with his experience. He's a calm football player at the position. He's the right guy at the right time for Wisconsin.
Play action pass on first down. Stave over the middle has a receiver. It is caught out near the 40-yard line. That is Alex Erickson, the top returning receiver the last 2 years for the Badgers.
And Clay, that's the guy that just really gets it done on the outside, and good protection. We talked about the identity of the offensive line. That goes for pass protection as well. A great pocket around Stave, and he was able to step up, have a clear lane to find his playmaker on the outside in Alex Erickson.
Gain of 22 on first down. And now the first running play. There's Dare Ogunbowale, the junior out of Milwaukee. He'll get a lot of touches today. So will the freshman Taiwan Deal, with Corey Clement out with that groin injury today.
Ogunbowale's normally the third down back. As you see, he's getting his first career start here in Camp Randall. So it's a nice thing to get him the football early, get him acclimated to being that every down back.
Second down and about 4 here for Wisconsin on the opening series. It's Ogunbowale again trying to pick his way on the left side, and he'll get a couple. And it'll bring up third down here. Joel Stave threw it 39 times last week. We'll see what he does here on third down, John. 16 times threw it to the running backs. We really saw that short passing game established for Wisconsin last week, in large part because they had to. Alabama's defense was stout.
Well, there's a trust factor there with his experience. I think he's a guy that can get it done in the pocket or making people miss within the pocket and still getting the ball downfield.
Third down and 2. They'll run it. And it's Taiwan Deal, his first touch. Slips a tackle, and he's got a first down into Redhawks territory to the 47-yard line. A hard run of 5 yards for the redshirt freshman out of Maryland.
It's going to be a 1-2 punch, and that second guy's the redshirt freshman who gets the first down, Taiwan Deal. He's a guy who has a ton of ability, and he's one of those guys that's going to pick up the slack for Clement. So you're going to see a 1-2 punch for Wisconsin, and I wouldn't be surprised maybe to see a little play action here on first down.
Tanner McAvoy Going to take the snap at quarterback. He is going to play on both sides of the ball today. We're going to see him at quarterback, at wide receiver, and he is going to start at safety. You don't see it much anymore, John. Guys playing on both sides of the ball at this level.
Well, he's a great story. He's been able to play multiple positions throughout his career here at Wisconsin. He'll play at safety. He'll line up in the slot here on second down.
He didn't have any catches last week against Alabama. Underutilized. You want to get him involved in many ways today on both sides. He'll line up as a receiver here. Stavi, time to throw, sets in the pocket, unleashes to Erickson on the slant. Down close to the 30-yard line. Alex Erickson, his second catch. That one goes for 13 yards and a first down.
Beautiful route and good timing and good separation. You see the first clearing of McAvoy on the slant. Right behind him is Alex Erickson. So good spacing in the pass offense for Wisconsin to start this football game.
First down from the 32. Play action pass. Stavi sets all kinds of time. Another strike to Erickson. And he's inside the 15. He had 6 catches and a touchdown last week. He's racking up the yards. That's another 18-yard play.
Big plays were lacking last week. You get a couple early, and you have to do that by establishing the line of scrimmage in the run game and in pass protection. And for Miami, you have to force the pass, but they have to do a better job of creating some havoc on first and second down to make that pass more predictable.
3 catches, 53 yards for Erickson. First and 10 from the 14. They give it to Ogunbowale, hurdling would-be tacklers and tumbles to the 10. A pickup of 4 yards for Ogunbowale, who walked on in 2012. Was still a reserve defensive back this time last year. Now he's the number 2 tailback behind Clement, who's out today.
Well, there's a touchdown-saving tackle by Bryson Burris. The safety came out of nowhere. He's building off a strong camp and a good first outing last week against Presbyterian. They're going to have to bow their backs here when the Wisconsin offense sets up at the 10.
Another pass. Stavi again all day. That one's deflected off Robert Wheelwright's hand.
But that's part of the game plan there for Miami's defense. First down, you win a little bit. You throw a shutout on second down, and now you force the hand of Wisconsin, maybe of going through the air instead of relying on that big offensive line to move the pile.
Stavi hit his first 3 pass attempts. That's his first incompletion. So 3rd down and 6.
Erickson's in the slot. He's been the hot man on this opening drive.
Tenth play of this series. Stavi throws it into the flat. Ogunbowale, nice adjustment to make the catch and dives ahead for the first down. It was not exactly a picture-perfect throw for Stavi, but Ogunbowale made a nice play on it.
And that's being aware of the situation. There's no hesitation when Ogunbowale catches the football, which was a great catch. The knee possibly might have been down around the 8-yard line. The officials
now we get a whistle.
May want to take a look at that as Ogunbowale kind of limps off to the sideline.
It was a first down by Wisconsin. The play is under further review.
Jim Thomas, our replay official today. Ogunbowale had 6 catches last week in that game versus Alabama. Now, he made this catch, but was his knee down?
Yeah, I think his knee's down right there, and it's actually around the 11-yard line. So that ball's going to come back and be 4th and a long way for Wisconsin, at least 8.
Ogunbowale put on scholarship this year. And there is Corey Clement, who is out today with the groin injury. He was limited to 16 yards on 8 carries last week. He's also had an abdomen strain that he's been dealing with throughout camp.
You know, you get a better throw from Stavi on 3rd down, and I think it allows his back one-on-one opportunities in space. He still would have been able to get the first down, but he might have been able to score. But now it looks like this ball is going to come back around the 11-yard line because that left knee of Ogunbowale is definitely touching the turf.
Well, Wisconsin is a very capable field goal kicker in Rafael Gaglianone. A sophomore from Brazil, it would be a chip shot for him.
After review, the runner made the catch, and his knee was down at the 11-yard line. It is 4th down and 7 yards. Start the clock on the ready for play.
So instead of a first down inside the 5-yard line, it's 4th down and 7, and they're going to bring on the field goal unit. The second-year kicker from Brazil, Gaglianone, had the game winner in the Outback Bowl last year against Auburn, was 1 for 2 last week, including missing a 34-yarder off the upright just ahead of half, which was a big miss at the time. This is setting up from 29 yards.
That miss last week kind of took the momentum away from Wisconsin going to halftime. Talking about finding an identity, this would be nice for Wisconsin to score on this opening drive, give them a little bit of momentum.
Connor Udelhoven, the snap out of the hold of Drew Meyer. And the first points belong to Wisconsin on Paul Christ's homecoming. The Madison native leading the Badgers at home for the first time. It's an 11-play, 71-yard drive that results in 3 for the Badgers.
ESPNU College Football All-State Saturday Kickoff, brought to you by Allstate, proud supporters of college football. Are you in good hands? And Bass Pro Shops, your adventure starts here.
First meeting between Miami and Wisconsin, and the Badgers trying to rinse the taste of that 35-17 loss to Alabama last week. Get 3 on the opening drive. Andrew Endicott kicking off to Kenny Young, who's deep for the Redhawks, and you'll watch it sail over his head. Miami coming off its first season opening win since 2007. They beat FCS Presbyterian, and the 5th-year senior Drew Coomer looked pretty good at quarterback. He'll make his second career start here today after spending 4 seasons as a backup.
Well, Clay, he's waited a long time for his opportunity, and he took advantage of that last week. Very accurate arm, a good athlete. He was 14 of 19, so that shows you his accuracy down the football field. 2 touchdowns. He's a good decision maker. And Drew can also help out in the running game, which might add to Miami's offense today.
This is a very young Miami team. Kenny Young, redshirt freshman in the backfield. He'll get the first touch today. And what are the keys here for Miami?
Well, I think they need to win on the outside. They have size in terms of wide receivers. Chris Hudson, for instance, he's a 6'6" guy. So winning on the outside, and for Wisconsin, they need to tackle in space and play fast defensively.
Miami wasting no time getting up to the line. It's deflected and caught. It would have been a busted play. It turns out okay as Sam Martin makes the catch on the deflection and turns it into a positive play, an 8-yard pickup for the Redhawks. Third down.
Taking advantage of a batted ball. It's batted at the line of scrimmage by Beagle, right into the arms of Sam Martin. So a fortunate bounce off the tip, and a good job by Miami's wide receivers and Sam Martin being aware.
Didn't take long for Vince Beagle to make an impact on this game. Second team All Big Ten last year. And Wisconsin's defense stuffing Kenny Young. It's going to be 4th down. That's Arthur Goldberg, the defensive end. Was a nose tackle last year. He has played a good defensive end the first couple of weeks.
Finding an identity, both offensively and now it looks like a 3-and-out defensively. Good job of rallying to the football there on 3rd down.
Now Wisconsin, number 4 in total defense last year. But they gave up 502 yards to Alabama last week, forcing a 3-and-out in the opening Miami series here today. Alex Erickson waiting for that punt, calls for the fair catch off the foot of Christian Cook. And Wisconsin, leading by 3, has decent field position to start drive number 2. First game at Camp Randall as head coach for the Madison native Paul Chryst. Third coach at Wisconsin in 5 years. Spent the last 3 at Pitt. Played quarterback for the Badgers at one time back in the 80s. Was offensive coordinator here during those record-setting years between 05 and 11. Running out onto the field for the first time here today. Very humble about this, but you know inside how much this means to him.
I think it's only natural for him to feel those emotions, but he's graduated. He's been in that same locker room with his father when he was in grade school.
Right.
So he's graduated from a fan to a player to a tight ends coach to an offensive coordinator, and now the guy in charge of everything here at Wisconsin.
Wants to see his team establish their identity starting today. You feel that happened against Alabama last week. Stavi away from center, gives to Agumba Wale. And a couple of yards on that play. Paul Chryst on that first drive. I'm wondering what he thought. You know, they did seem to control that line of scrimmage. The drive fizzled out inside the 15. Got points on the board, however.
Well, I think it was a good mix of run and pass, and they established the line of scrimmage. So I think that's one of the goals coming out from last week against Alabama to this week against Miami. Can this young offensive line gel early in a game?
3 new starters up front this year for Wisconsin. And Agumba Wale plunges ahead, gets to the 30, and that's about it. A yard pickup as Kent Kern, the middle linebacker, the captain of that Redhawks defense, makes the play.
And that's exactly what Miami wanted to do offensively. First down, second down, shut down Wisconsin, limit the yards you get, and now you're in a third and predictable for their defense. See if they can respond and get a 3 and out.
Last season, 38% on third down. Went into a lot of third downs last week. They went 6 of 14. On 3rd and 7, the pass complete. First down, Wisconsin, out to the 40-yard line. A catch made by Jazz Peavy, just the second catch of his career.
Good job by Peavy finding a soft spot in the zone. Good protection again for Stave. He's looking right down the middle of the field, and finding the open window was Peavy on 3rd down. That's good savvy for a wide receiver and a good relationship of pitch and catch by Stave.
Stave now number 5 all-time in career passing yards after that completion here at the University of Wisconsin.
This is where you like to go, maybe play action and take a shot down the field.
They're going to run it. It's Taiwan Deal. Gain of 3. Let's go to the studio for the first time in Brendan.
Clay, thanks very much. Elsewhere in the Big Ten, Jim Harbaugh and Michigan make their debut at the Big House. Oregon State coming to town as 2-touchdown underdogs, but how about that pitch and catch? Seth Collins to Hunter Jarman for 21 yards, and it's the Beavers up early. Back to you.
I imagine the 2 big Oregon schools taking on the 2 big Michigan schools this weekend.
Should be fun to watch.
Taking a shot down the field. It's going to land incomplete. Stavi trying to hit Tanner McAvoy. Again, no catches last week. So far, none here today, but they want to get him involved.
And that's one of the things you can do with Tanner when you split him out wide with his size at 6'6". Even if he's covered, he's really not covered. You know, give him an opportunity to make a play on the football. I would look for that play again early in this first half.
Stavi now 5 of 7 for 62 yards. Another 3rd down here for Wisconsin. Plenty of time. Incomplete. Tried the tight end Austin Traylor that time. And Wisconsin's going to be forced to punt as this Miami defense hasn't too bad of a job here on their first 2 defensive series.
Linebackers converge for Miami on 3rd down. It looked like Josh Dooley and Joe Donlin doing a nice job getting their hands on the football, so they do respond in that second defensive series.
Drew Meyer on to punt. 4th year as the Badgers punter. Kenny Young back to return. Ball comes out. Wisconsin jumps on it. inside the 15-yard line. A mucked punt by Kenny Young, and it sure appeared that Wisconsin recovered. Badgers football. Connor Udelhoven, the snapper, got down there to recover that one inside the 15.
Udelhoven gets the fumble recovery, but a big hit on the outside. Two Wisconsin players converge on the punt returner, and instant field position for Joel Stave. That's just a good job. First guy in gets the hit on the football. You win and you find an identity. Normally it's offensively or defensively, but special teams right now sets the tone.
Paul Chryst really emphasizes special teams, and the special teams coverage unit on that punt comes up big for the Badgers. Here's Taiwan Deal straight ahead. And a good run on first down. Picks up about 4 yards, close to the 10. Bryson Burris, the safety, makes the stop.
Clay, you talked about coming away with only 3 points on that first drive. It's imperative now for Wisconsin to build on that big play and get the football in the end zone when they have this opportunity with excellent field position.
Trell Jamerson threw that hit down there on Young to pop that ball loose, and Udelhoven recovered it. Churning away inside the 10-yard line is Deal. We get 3 more as Buchi Okafor makes a stop. So another third down here and short for Wisconsin inside the red zone. They struggled at times in the red zone last year, especially scoring touchdowns. Had 2 touchdowns and 4 red zone drives last week. Had to settle for a field goal last time.
This might be 4-down territory for these guys. They may want to keep that offense in early in this game and try to get this momentum going on that side of the football.
Stave to the end zone. Incomplete, off the hand of Wheelwright. And it'll bring up 4th down. Buchi Okafor in on the coverage. And the field goal unit will have to come out again, so the red zone issues continue for the Badgers.
They do, and that's a win for Miami defensively. Anytime you give the football away on special teams and it's able to flip the field on your defense, if you can come away with a field goal opportunity, that's a big win for Miami.
Hit a 29-yarder on the last series. This from 26. Play clock to 2. And Gaglianone is 2 for 2. Now the Badgers settling for field goals here early in Madison.
Yeah, missed opportunities by Wisconsin early in this football game. Joel Stave has to find a way to get their team into the end zone, but they still hold a 6-point lead.
Tonight at 7 on ESPNU, Ball State at number 16, Texas A&M. Boy, that Aggies defense under new defensive coordinator John Chavis sure looked good against Arizona State last week.
They were running all over the field, Clay. I mean, you hold an Arizona State offense to only 291 total yards and 9 sacks. That's not a typo. 9 sacks. That's unbelievable.
Chief can coach.
he can coach.
Flat out
and
coach.
Kevin Sumlin must be happy about that decision to bring him in.
2 drives for Wisconsin, both ending in field goals by Gaglianone. And Miami will start at the 25 again. Chuck Martin in his 2nd year in Oxford, the former Brian Kelly understudy at Grand Valley State and Notre Dame. He was the Irish offensive coordinator the year they went to the BCS title game in 2012. According to him, this team is significantly better at every position after last year.
Well, they're young. They're a young football team, and this is a team and a program that wants to build around what Chuck Martin's vision is. So his pitch is to those kids that are wanting to play for him, come and win MAC championships. That's what they want to build here in the very near future.
As one of the youngest teams in the entire country, 62 freshmen on this roster. Drew Coomer, the senior, almost throws a pick. Leo Musso, the free safety, almost had a gift.
There's
McAvoy.
Yeah, he was in on the hit, but that's one of the problems with this offense that's carried over. They need to catch those opportunities.
And this one is intercepted by Musso. Off the deflection. Has it at the 43-yard line. Two bad passes by Coomer, and Miami already with its second turnover here in the quarter.
They didn't miss that opportunity. The second time was the charm. A good job of tipping the football by Michael Caputo right into the arms of his partner on the outside, Lee Musso. Defensive coordinator Dave Aranda, he talked about that yesterday, Clay. He wanted more opportunities on the football, but not only that, catch the football when the opportunities present themselves.
Great to see Caputo out there running around after that concussion last week in the Alabama game.
Take a shot at the end zone. This is what you got to do.
And Stavi looking deep, under pressure, gets away from one sack, but then is dumped at the 47-yard line. Here's Michael Caputo. He took a shot on the first series last week against Alabama, and he knew right away he wasn't right. The Big Ten and the University of Wisconsin, they have a post-concussion protocol. He passed all the tests this week, and he was cleared to play here today.
He's the leader. He's the leader not only on defense, but of this football team, and it's great to see number 7 in red back for the Badgers.
Now Stavi out of the gun. Throws a strike to Peavy. Gets it back to the line of scrimmage. The original line of scrimmage, and a couple more yards before Marshall Taylor brings him down. It's a 6-yard pickup. But here's another third down for Wisconsin, John.
It's playing into Miami's hands defensively. Last series, they did the exact same thing. Keep Wisconsin in 3rd and long and see if that offensive line can hold up and protect long enough for Joel Stavi to throw an accurate pass down the field.
Wisconsin 2 of 5 so far trying to convert third down. Pressure off the edge. Stavi was in trouble, got rid of it, tried to get it to Peavy for the first down, but it's incomplete. J.T. Jones, number 91, the captain, one of their best pass rushers, was all over Stavi.
He's at the top of the screen, and he's the guy that's going to win on the outside. That's one of the things you have to worry about when you're in predictable passing situations. Guys like J.T. Jones and Bryson Albright pinning those ears back and coming off the edge and forcing the ball out a little bit quicker than anticipated.
Meyer. High punt. Murphy lets it bounce, and it goes out of bounds. So Wisconsin pins Miami deep inside the 20. Here's that play that Caputo tried to make the tackle. In fact, it was his first tackle of the season, and it knocked him out of the first game of the season.
Yeah, it was a scary moment for Michael. He goes to the sidelines. It looked like he was aware right away, which was a good sign, but you go through the protocol during the week, he passes all the tests, and now he's back on the field Saturday afternoon in Camp Randall, which is probably nowhere else he'd want to be today.
Billy Ball, the true freshman quarterback, 18-year-old rookie, takes his first snap. He's got a big arm and a big future for the Miami Redhawks. Alonzo Smith brought down after that 3-yard pickup. Ball got some snaps last week for Miami. He's likely the starting quarterback as soon as next year. And his first pass attempt incomplete. Good coverage in the secondary. Jared Murphy, the intended receiver, but obviously Eric Kaler didn't like what they saw in those last 2 passes from Drew Coomer. They're giving Ball a chance here early in the quarter.
Well, he's got a big arm. It's the future of the program. That's what this coaching staff has labeled on Billy Ball, but he needs to play, and he's playing early in this football game. He has to protect the football deep in his own end on 3rd and long.
Pressure. Ball gets away. Throws. Incomplete, and the flag is down to boot. There's Chris Hudson. He was the intended receiver.
Offside. Defense, number 91. 5-yard penalty. Replay 3rd down.
Xander Newville offside for Wisconsin. So
gives Miami another opportunity now, a 3rd and short.
another one tipped up in the air. And McAvoy couldn't get there. Incomplete, 4th down. Derek Tyndall, great coverage. The sophomore corner.
Tyndall does a nice job of seeing through the coverage to the quarterback, and he runs right through the receiver with that left arm. And that ball almost another opportunity in the secondary for the Badgers.
Badgers ready to get good field position again. Christian Cook on for the 2nd time to punt for Miami. Standing at his own 40 is Alex Erickson. Gives you a good idea of what Wisconsin puts on importance of special teams, and a great return for Erickson. Inside the 20-yard line before he stepped out of bounds, and Christian Cook, the punter, had to make the tackle. The #1 wide receiver is the #1 punt returner. You don't see that a lot anymore.
And he's one of the smartest players on the football field. Watch him shorten the distance and catch this football on the run. That's the key to the entire special teams play on the return. He was able to take that gamble, get it on the run, and get to the wall to the short side. Smart play by Alex Erickson.
Special teams playing a big role here in the 1st quarter for Wisconsin. 22 to go in the quarter. Stavi hands off to Gumbawale. And Paul Moses, the weak side linebacker, makes the tackle. It's important here, I would think, John, for Wisconsin to get into the end zone.
It is, and it's important for them to stop the penetration at the line of scrimmage. It seems like Miami's defenders are hitting the running backs at the line of scrimmage. They have to get some movement up front. Again, get that identity of leaning on people with that big offensive line. It's kind of been hit or miss today.
They need to start proving some things to themselves more than anything. Gumbawale again. And another 3rd down situation in the red zone for Paul Christ's Badgers.
Again, too much penetration at the point of attack allows that running game never to get going downhill. So now you have to rely on your quarterback to make a big time decision. And the guy next to Paul Chryst, he was wishing he might be in the game for this 3rd down opportunity.
Stavi on 3rd and 8, sets, throws, caught, touchdown, Wisconsin. Robert Wheelwright. 14-yard touchdown reception, and the Badgers finally get into the end zone.
Clay, good protection on the 3rd and long. Stave was able to stand up tall in the pocket, and that back shoulder throw to the short side of the field right in front of the pylon for 6 points.
I'm going to take another look at this and make sure that Wheelwright was in. Wheelwright had a 4th quarter touchdown last week in the loss to Alabama. From our vantage point, it looked like he was in. Here's another replay.
Perfect spot on the football. Looks like he controls it there. Now he can touch the ground as long as it doesn't alter the catch or aid the catch. It looks like he had control of the football going down to the turf. He's got it there. The ball slips through his hands, but he still has control of the football. I think that's the determining factor here. Does the ball or does the ground aid Wheelwright in catching the football? It's hard to tell when he covers it up. You see the point of the football there. I think this is going to stand.
Review, ruling on the field stands. Touchdown.
The ruling stood. That means they couldn't find any evidence to overturn it. Had it been confirmed, it would have meant that there was no doubt about it. But it stands. Either way, it's a touchdown.
A relieved head coach on the sidelines as well.
And now Gaglianone comes on for the extra point. 3 plays, 16 yards in a minute and 16 seconds. Wisconsin taking advantage. Great field position. And some excellent special teams plays here in the first quarter.
I think one of the biggest indications when you want to throw a back shoulder throw for a quarterback is if your big receiver at 6'3", when he gets even, does he have leverage to the outside? And down at the bottom, you can see he's even. So that tells me as an experienced quarterback, I have room to the outside to give my playmaker an opportunity to catch the football. So that was the trigger in Joel Stave's head to say, you know what, let's give him an opportunity. Perfect throw and a better catch for 6 points.
It's been an up and down career for Stave. Injuries in 2012, 2013. Lost his job in camp last year. That led to a case of the yips, which was unexplainable. That's all behind him now, and so far, he's put up some pretty good numbers here in 2015. Kenny Young, the redshirt freshman from Tallahassee, is driven down short of the 15-yard line. End of the first quarter here at Camp Randall. The home opener for the Badgers, and it's all Wisconsin so far. Homecoming for Paul Chryst, 13-0. Clay Matvick and John Congemi back here in Madison. A dominant first quarter for Wisconsin. With that said, John, we haven't seen the Badgers establish the run game quite the way I think Paul Chryst would like to see it play out.
No, but the time of possession and what they've been able to do at quarterback with Joel Stave has really masked a little bit of that running game. The lanes aren't there in the running game right now, but that and field position and defense has led to this 13-0 lead.
Billy Ball still in there at quarterback for Miami. He's complete on first down. And it's a first down reception for Sam Martin, the sophomore from Boulder. And a man slow to get up for the Badgers, it's Derek Tyndall. Derek Tyndall, backup corner. Lost his mom to cancer last year. Also suffered a bad concussion last season. He really had a tough freshman year. And the Badgers hope that he can stay healthy and stay in this football game.
Yeah, this is a player that they depend on. You know, you rotate Sheldon and Hillary and Tyndall, and Jamerson a little bit back there, and a guy that a South Florida native, went to Boyd Anderson High School, where I grew up in South Florida. One of those tough players coming out of that area. So hopefully he'll be able to come back.
Looks good jogging back to the sideline. Again, we're going to see Tanner McAvoy in this Wisconsin secondary here today. We've already seen him take a snap at quarterback, line up as a wide receiver, playing on both sides of the football here at Camp Randall this afternoon. Big hit in the backfield. There's Leon Jacobs, the inside linebacker. Connor Sheehy, the nose tackle, also there for Wisconsin. A loss of 6.
And the play was, let's meet at the quarterback. I mean, no chance for Billy Ball to either throw the football away or avoid this sack. You mentioned Sheehy and Jacobs there.
Kenny Young, a couple yards back. The biggest thing that defensive coordinator Dave Aranda wanted to see today, John, and you touched on this a bit, tackling better. So many missed tackles. He counted 17 when he watched the tape from that Alabama game last week.
And play faster on defense, and they've done that as well.
Wisconsin trying to get off the field here on third down, 3rd and 14. This is Billy Ball throwing, it's tipped, and it falls incomplete. Leo Musso doing a great job getting his hands in passing lanes here so far in this one.
Well, especially in the last 2 set of downs defensively for Wisconsin, they've been able to get their hands on the football, and Dave Aranda, the defensive coordinator, liking what he sees out of this unit. Playing a little bit faster, getting some turnovers, and that's their ammo. That's who they are defensively.
You got a turnover already, nearly had one there. They didn't create any turnovers last week and only 17 last season. That's going to be an emphasis for Dave Aranda's group in 2015. And now a penalty marker.
Offsides. Defense number 41. 5-yard penalty. Remains 4th down.
Dave Aranda introducing that 3-4 scheme at Wisconsin a few years ago. It's been a real success. He could have left for Oregon State with Gary Anderson, but loves Madison, likes Paul Christ. He stayed right here. Good field position again for Wisconsin, but it's muffed. Alex Erickson diving ahead. Did he recover? Now some pushing and shoving after the play. Penalty flags all over the field.
Looked like Austin Gearing from Miami. Not a good decision. He's going to get 15 no matter what the result is of this play.
There's Chuck Martin getting on Gearing's case. Gearing, the former quarterback. Now defensive end for the Red Hawks, also plays on special teams.
Kick was recovered by Wisconsin. After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct, number 11 on the receiving team. Correction, the kicking team. Number 11 on the kicking team. 15 yards from the end of the play. 1st down. Huh? We're going this way.
Well, Wisconsin has taken advantage of some special teams blunders for Miami today. They nearly had one of their own.
Yeah, one of those things where you try to field the football. Erickson does a good job of trying to get back on it. It could have been a big play for Miami, but they retain possession 13-0, and then you make a bad mistake, Miami, on top of not getting the football. You make a penalty, personal foul. Can't do that after that play.
Tomorrow from 8 a.m. till noon, ESPNU brings you College Football Sunday. We'll talk about their Heisman hopefuls, championship contenders. Even though it's week 2, that stuff is good fodder. It's on ESPNU and the Watch ESPN app. Speaking of Heisman favorites after week 1, anybody stand out for you?
I don't know. How about Braxton Miller?
He looked good.
He might be moving up the charts here soon. He keeps getting plays like that.
Stabby throwing down the sideline, looking for Tanner McAvoy. That was incomplete, and Stabby took a shot as he let go, and it was J.T. Jones again.
That's one of the problems when you have an inexperienced offensive line and you're trying to establish yourself, trying to establish the line of scrimmage. They haven't had a whole lot of success running the football, and now in consecutive series they've had pressure coming off the edge.
Wisconsin's average starting field position today, the Miami 40. This one starts at the 42.
And only 13 points to show for it.
That's right. The Red Hawks very lucky. In the flat, low throw, McAvoy. Pretty catch just off his shoelaces. And gets out close to a 1st down, a 9-yard play. He is so athletic. Can do so many things for Wisconsin.
Trying to make an impact this week. Last week he was slowed a little bit with a hamstring injury. Now he's closer to 100%. And Joel Stabby knows that's the guy they want to get the football to, especially when they get closer to the red zone between McAvoy and Erickson.
Taiwan Deal back in at running back, and he's got a 1st down. He is a big back, 6'1", 220 pounds. And they really like the redshirt freshman, thinks he has a ton of ability.
And that's the first time on a 3rd and short we've watch the offensive line of Wisconsin win that battle at the line of scrimmage. When you have a back that can just go north and south, and Deal pushed the pile that time. McAvoy, single receiver at the top of the screen. That might be a good choice here with the man-to-man coverage.
Reggie Love trying to cut that corner. Out to the 25 and out of bounds. Josh Dooley, the Sam linebacker, makes the stop. 5-yard pickups. That's a big play so far this year for the Wisconsin run game.
It actually is. It's a positive play on first down, and it allows you to do more by offensive coordinator Joe Rudolph. He can go to different formations. He can try to isolate his playmakers where he wants to when you have more at your disposal when you have success on first down.
Actually give him 6. Deal back in. Lone set back behind Stavi, who's under center. Deal. Hurdles a tackler, gets to the 22. He's going to be short of the first down, so third down again for the Badgers. And a man down for the Redhawks. Joe Donlin, the 5th-year senior out of River Forest, Illinois. He's played a lot of football for Miami. They're checking on him. Third down and 2 coming up when we come back.
ESPNU College Football All-State Saturday Kickoff. Brought to you by the Venture Card from Capital One. Earn unlimited double miles you can use on any airline anytime. And Wrangler, real comfortable jeans.
Near capacity crowd for this season home opener for the Wisconsin Badgers at Camp Randall. Joe Donlin, the middle linebacker for Miami, was helped to the sideline. Looked like he got his knee rolled up on. And another third down, John, for the Badgers. They're 4 of 8 today.
Well, they went right up the middle the last opportunity. I would expect them to do the same.
Taiwan Deal gets it, bounces off a man, keeps churning. And this is going to depend on the spot.
I think that second and third effort may have pushed the pile. That was a terrific individual effort by Taiwan Deal.
Deal, one of 53 freshmen on this year's Wisconsin roster. We talk about Miami being young Wisconsiners too. This was a great effort. And they get the first down.
Miami was definitely lower at the point of attack, but a great individual effort moves the chains for the Badgers.
Again, no Corey Clement. Rushed for nearly 1,000 yards last year. He's got a groin injury. He's on the Wisconsin sideline today. Quick strike. The receiver wasn't ready. Reggie Love was still looking downfield when that quick strike from Stavi came his way. Second down.
Sometimes, Clay, you have a little communication breakdown when you want to throw what's called a now pass. You want to get downhill. Stavi took it upon himself. He may have given the wide receiver Love a nod, and I don't think Reggie responded back because he was going downfield to block somebody. Here's your matchup. You've got single receiver on the outside, McAvoy down here at the 20-yard line. That would be the fade route for me.
5-step drop. Stavi looks right, comes back left to the end zone. Touchdown. Austin Traylor, the tight end. A 20-yard touchdown pass from Stavi. And the senior from Columbus, Ohio, adds 6 more to the Badgers.
I think the play was drawn up for the fade route here, but he didn't like it. Watch Stavi look to his right. He doesn't like the coverage because the free safety goes off the hash. That allows Austin Traylor wide open in the end zone and a good spot of the football by the redshirt senior quarterback.
Gaglianone tacks on the extra point. It's 20-0. Austin Traylor had 3 catches against Alabama in the season opener. That doubled the number of catches for his career. He's having an impact in 2015 in the receiving game.
I want you looking at me. Tell me what you
Austin Traylor with the touchdown reception. 2 touchdown passes for the 5th-year senior Joel Stave today. And John, he's been on this campus a long time, but this is the most confident that Joel Stave has been. The first time he was the clear #1 in a Badgers camp.
Well, he looks like the true leader at quarterback. He's orchestrated 20 points through 1.5 quarters. He's been able to do that with his right arm, and his patience in the pocket very visible today.
Stave 9 of 16, 109 yards and 2 TD strikes.
He's done a nice job of staying patient and feeling his way in the pocket, finding receivers. Alex Erickson on that play, wheel right for the touchdown. Then he looks right, steps up left, and finds the big tight end, Austin Traylor. So he's done a nice job of distributing the football without the luxury of really relying on a dependent running game. The running game, once it catches up to Joel Stave, this offense is going to take the next step.
Real scary.
And, you know, Corey Clement on the sidelines again today. So you've got 2 guys doing the job of what Paul Chryst said is our best skilled football player on this team, not playing today.
True freshman Billy Ball still in the game. Slips a tackle in the backfield, throws it downfield, and it's caught at the 41-yard line by Rakeem Williams, the junior from South Carolina. And Miami will hustle up to the line. 2nd first down for Miami of this game. You can see why they're high on this freshman quarterback, Billy Ball. He's incomplete that time. Intended for Sam Martin.
You know, you have a quarterback that's only 18 years old, but you can see the flashes of why this coaching staff is excited. He's a big quarterback at 6'4". Maybe he should wear 7 if he's playing quarterback at Miami than 5. Kind of reminds you of the guy playing for the Steelers with guys draped all over him and buying some time.
Hit in the backfield, Alonzo Smith. And he's going to be dumped for a loss of 1. Vince Beagle, the linebacker defensive end hybrid, makes the tackle. Beagle and Joe Schobert going to be depended on a lot this year at the linebacker spot for Wisconsin again. Ball, 3rd and 11. Throws, complete, first down Miami. Into Wisconsin territory for the first time. There is Sam Martin, a sophomore from Boulder, Colorado.
Sam Martin does a nice job and a strong throw from one side of the field out to the other side by the numbers. Good job by Billy Ball, the quarterback.
Play fake, Ball in trouble, and he won't get away this time. Smothered by Beagle at the 47-yard line, and flags come in late.
They may get a spearing call by Abassi. It looked like he was the last player in.
Personal foul, number 34 defense coming in late. 15-yard penalty, first down.
You're right, Chikwe Abassi.
It looked like Billy Ball was getting taken down to the ground in an aggressive play by Abassi, but watch, he's going to come in late. The sack is going to happen there. You're going to see a flash coming in with the, I think the problem was he led with the helmet. He led with the top of that headgear on a defenseless quarterback. Put it right in his ribs.
So a negative play for Miami turned into a positive as they're now inside the 40-yard line after 38.
Maybe it's time for Chris Hudson, the 6'6" wideout, to appear and give him a jump ball on the outside.
He's number 87. Ball sets to throw. High arching pass. Batted away at the last moment, incomplete. Great coverage by Tanner McAvoy. And Rakeem Williams couldn't haul it in.
Wisconsin matches size with size. This is a safety going a long way. The ball hung up in the air so long for Williams, it allowed McAvoy to close and make a play on the outside.
McAvoy playing on both sides of the ball today for the Badgers and having an impact. There's a strike to the 25. And after the catch, there's Chris Hudson going to the 20-yard line, a gain of 18 for the big wide receiver. He had a touchdown last week on his first career reception against Presbyterian.
Clay, that was an example of elite arm talent from Billy Ball out to Chris Hudson on the outside. He's the 6'6" guy you want to get the football to as you get closer to the goal line, as you get into the red zone.
Redshirt freshman from Hazard, Kentucky. The NFL scouts already starting to take notice of him. Here's Ball, back to throw, lobs it up to the far sideline, and it's out of bounds. A couple of Badgers collide. Hudson again the intended target. Darius Hillary and Michael Caputo dust themselves off, and they'll get back into the play.
Well, credit Darius Hillary outside of making Billy Ball throw that one away. Chris Hudson could not get off the line of scrimmage. That was nice press coverage by the redshirt senior.
Darius Hillary, Wisconsin's top corner, fourth-year starter. That was behind the receiver. Caputo covering Jared Murphy. And now it's 3rd down and 10 for Miami. Caputo, a former boxer. But he knew he took a knockout punch last week.
There was no doubt. That was a standing 8, brought him to the sidelines, and thank goodness he's okay for this Saturday.
10th play of the drive, the longest drive for Miami today. And another incompletion from Billy Ball. Sam Martin, the intended receiver. Sojourn Shelton, who had a pretty good game last week against Alabama, was in on the coverage. So now 4th down for the Redhawks, and they'll bring on the field goal unit.
Nice drive by the freshman. Billy Ball had a couple of nice throws on the perimeter, but let's credit Wisconsin in their corners. The experience on the outside is not allowing the Miami offense and wide receivers any room.
Caleb Patterson, 4th-year kicker for the Redhawks from 37. No. Best drive of the day bears no fruit for Miami.
Well, let's credit this Wisconsin defense. They did a great job of keeping Miami out of the end zone.
Look at that baby face on Billy Ball, the true freshman quarterback for Miami. Drew Coomer, the 5th-year senior, started this game, but Miami's offense has moved the football with him at quarterback the last couple of series.
They really have, and it's because of his strong arm. They're not getting a whole lot of separation, but Billy's able to throw the football out there with authority.
Stavi, 9 of 16 so far passing in this game. Launches it deep downfield, and he's intercepted. Alex Erickson, the intended receiver, but Marshall Taylor picks it off.
Little stop and go route on the outside by Erickson. He's going to stutter down about the 33-yard line and outrun the defense of Marshall Taylor, but the ball's underthrown considerably. If you're Joel Stavi, you want to just throw that one as far as you can and let your receiver go and make a play. But Marshall Taylor, great ball skills to come up with the interception.
Chuck Martin talking to his junior corner. Martin telling you and I this week that he thinks that guy has NFL potential.
Maybe.
Stavi intercepted for the 2nd time this year. And now Billy Ball and the Miami offense get it back quickly. Jared Murphy to the 31-yard line.
These corners for Wisconsin are very good. They react quickly. They close the distance between where they're at and the ball. They do a nice job of just playing fast, and that's where you want to be.
Ball intercepted. Tanner McAvoy inside the 5-yard line. You can see why Paul Chryst wants him to play on both sides of the ball. He makes an impact.
Boy, he does such a nice job of reading the eyes of the young quarterback. He steps right in front of where the receiver should have been. And then he steps in front about the 15-yard line and goes down inside the 5. Just a terrific job of being an athlete from that safety position.
1 carry for 2 yards, a reception for 9, a tackle, a pass breakup, and now that interception, which has Wisconsin 1st down and goal to go from the 4. Deal. Penalty flag.
Offsides. Defense. Half the distance to the goal. Replay first down. The number was 95 on the foul.
Just get McAvoy in there, take a direct snap, and let him run it in.
Or put him outside, throw him a fade route. That's right. Right now, I think Paul Chryst is thinking, let's go straight ahead with the guy that's dotting the I, and that's Taiwan Deal.
That's what they do. Close, but not close enough. Bryson Burris, the safety, missed all of last year with a bad knee injury, makes the stop to keep him out of the end zone.
You know, normally you would think maybe play action here, but I think this is all about an identity again. This is all about who they are to impose their will on an opposing team. I just think this offensive line needs to grind this yard out, and I think they're coming back and repeating the same play.
Deal again, dots the I. Second down and goal for Wisconsin. Touchdown, Badgers. Turning the third Miami turnover today into points.
Taking advantage of field position, taking advantage of what the defense and special teams have set the table, and that's winning the battle at the line of scrimmage.
Gaglianone, and it's 27-0 here in Madison. Let's check in the studio with Brendan.
Clay, it's Auburn and Jacksonville State. Jacksonville State, an FCS team, but their quarterback Eli Jenkins is outplaying Jeremy Johnson. He's got 180-plus passing yards, and this touchdown. Jacksonville State leads 10-6 with 2 minutes left in the first half.
FCS teams 1-100 since 1978 against FBS top 10. Could that change today? Could they get another win?
There's a lot of football left, but it's a good start.
But it hasn't been a good start
for
Johnson.
Auburn. Yeah,
and hit that experiment at quarterback.
You're right. You know, the high expectations coming into this season for a lot of teams. And I think, you know, we're watching one today in Wisconsin turning it a little bit around. Now, you take Alabama off the field, that's one consideration. But I think it's more about how they're going to improve as a team, and probably the same thing that Auburn's facing themselves.
Wisconsin beat Auburn last year in the Outback Bowl. Put a nice finishing touch on an excellent season for the Badgers. Paul Chryst and Wisconsin out to a good start here in their 2015 home opener as Kenny Young is on the return for Miami along the sideline. Steps out near the 25. Tanner McAvoy making an impact offensively and defensively.
He's been all over the football field for Wisconsin. Here a direct snap. He takes it to the short side. Great catch on a low throw by Joel Stavy, and then he's impacted the defense as well with some big hits and being around the football with this interception that sets up a Deal touchdown. So Tanner McAvoy, we saw the graphic earlier, he's done such a great job of being around the football and getting involved today for Wisconsin.
After Ball threw that interception, Eric Kaler brings back Drew Coomer, the fifth-year senior at quarterback. They hand it off, and it's another loss for the Red Hawks run game. Leonard Ross getting the carry. Darius Hillary steps up from the cornerback spot to drop him for a loss of 3.
These corners play aggressive football, and it's going to help out the interior of this Badger defense as the season wears on.
Seeing some really good tackling today for Wisconsin. And that makes Dave Aranda happy. Coomer throws. It's complete at the 35 to Rakeem Williams. Close to a first down. Bring up 3rd and short. You know, all of the goals for Wisconsin
still
out
table
there for them, even though they did not play well in the season opener against Alabama.
You're right. The only thing they can't do, Paul Chryst said, obviously, is go undefeated. But everything else is all out in front of them. And I think for Wisconsin, it's that Big Ten championship. You know, that's where they are, and they move on from there.
There's movement. Like movement on that right side of the Miami line.
False start. Offense number 66. 5-yard penalty. Still third down.
So right guard Sam McCullum, 18-year-old true freshman. They're high on him, but youthful mistake there.
Yeah, you go from 3rd and 1 to now 3rd and 6. It puts a lot more pressure on Billy Ball to make a play from the pocket and more pressure on this offensive line to protect, keep him away from a sack opportunity.
Miami has converted once today on 3rd down. Coomer rolling out to the right, pressured, hit, throws. Nice catch and a first down as Chris Hudson comes back to the ball, and they'll move the chains.
Billy Ball is growing up today at Camp Randall. That was a terrific job of getting on the run and throwing the football. That might have been Coomer.
That was Coomer, yep. Go back to the ground on 1st down.
Late flag too here, Clay.
It came from the back judge, Alonzo Smith. And that 2-yard carry.
Personal foul, hands to the face. 66 offense. 15-yard penalty, first down.
That's McCollum again.
2 negative plays that back up Miami offensively.
So spotted back at the 28-yard line.
And that's going to happen when you have to play as many freshmen as you see Miami playing today. And it exposes yourself, but that's how those guys are going to get experience and get better on the field.
62 freshmen, 15 are regulars, including McCollum. So now 1st and 25. Coomer checks the play at the line. They'll run it. Smith only gets a couple back as Michael Caputo, a very good tackling safety, brings down Smith. And it'll be 2nd and 23.
Clay, as you mentioned earlier, just good to see number 7 in red out here for Wisconsin. Had the concussion, went through the protocol, practiced Thursday and Friday, and he'll be an impactful player as this team moves along and gets better on that side of the football.
Dave Aranda said, they'd like to give Caputo a lighter day today. Maybe if things continue to go well in the 3rd quarter, maybe they give him a quarter off. Still recovering from that concussion, even though he passed all the protocol.
Long season.
Yeah, and he's probably got some fatigue from everything he has gone through this week. That was a short play for Smith as Schobert makes the stop. Now 3rd down and long for the Redhawks.
More pressure on this offensive line and Coomer to make a play. You just don't want to. You want to protect the football on 3rd and this long.
Crowd at Camp Randall making communication tough. Coomer sets to throw. Intended for Hudson, and it sails over his head. Sojourn Shelton, number 8 for Wisconsin, making a nice play in the secondary. And the punting unit will come out for Miami. Shelton broke up some potentially big plays last week against Alabama.
That's one of the strengths of this defense. I think it's on the outside. We've seen both corners, Shelton and Hillary, do an excellent job of limiting space for Miami wide receivers.
I want him to take more chances too this year, try and create more turnovers. He kind of had a sophomore slump last year after 4 picks his freshman year. It's the 4th Miami punt. Aussie style kick, bounces, and it takes a good Redhawks roll inside the 20. Still rolling inside the 10. And down at the 7-yard line as we check in again with Brendan.
Hey, Clay, coming up at halftime, Kevin Carter joins me. We break down the first half of what we've seen in Madison. Jim Harbaugh makes his big house debut as the Wolverines take on Oregon State. And we'll also talk about the Oregon-Michigan State matchup coming up later tonight. Back to you.
After the 61-yard punt by Christian Cook, Wisconsin is backed up but leading 27-0. We've been talking about Paul Christ's home debut here today as head coach of Wisconsin. Big day for Jim Harbaugh.
It is. Homecoming as well. Guys that grew up in those towns, now
No doubt.
played for their schools and in charge as head coaches.
Good run. Taiwan Deal. It's going to be close to a first down for the redshirt freshman. Those are the explosive kind of runs on first down that we have not seen a lot of so far this year for Wisconsin.
And it opens up the playbook for Joe Rudolph, the offensive coordinator. It allows you to do more when you have that great success on first down.
Second down in inches here for the Badgers. Deal again. Pick up about 3. Playoff contenders clash in the first top 10 matchup of the season. Saturday Night Football presented by Wells Fargo. Oregon, Michigan, 7 versus 5. That's tonight at 8 on ABC. Tough environment for Oregon transfer quarterback Vernon Adams. Mark Helfrich's Ducks haven't been the underdog very often in recent years.
They haven't. And you know what? For Adams in Oregon, he left the game last week in the fourth quarter. He hit his head on the turf, has a finger issue as well. So it looks like he's going to get the opportunity to play, but how effective will he be? And on the other side with Michigan State, 16 consecutive home openers. They've only lost to 3 games in their last 30 games. One of those teams tonight, Oregon, has a victory.
Timeout on the field. 2 minutes to go here before halftime. Alongside John Congemi, former quarterback at Pitt, and Clay Matvick. It's 27-0 Badgers here late in the first half. A lot of mistakes here for the young Redhawks, as Wisconsin's trying to establish an identity here in 2015 after a rough season opening loss to Alabama. More flags come in.
Ball start. Offense number 62. 5-yard penalty. Remains first down.
Like Walker Williams getting a quick jump there for Wisconsin.
We have seen Tanner McAvoy impact this game on both sides of the ball. He's on the sideline right now. Stavi to throw. That's complete to Alex Erickson. Not necessarily a very big wide receiver, just seems to get it done.
He's a good football player. I mean, that's probably one of the best compliments you can give any one of these guys. He just has a feel for the game. He has good timing in his routes. He knows man versus zone, when he can sit down, when he needs to run away, and he creates space for Stavi to throw the football into.
That one's dropped. And that time Erickson didn't get it done, left it on the turf.
They did everything well but catch the football. The most basic thing you need as a wide receiver. That doesn't happen much. I'm sure that they'll mark that on the film, and you may only be able to catch that routine one more time this season. He does not drop the football.
Gumbawale, their third down back to the left of Stavi. They're on 3rd down and 3. Complete on the crossing route to Wheelwright. And he gets out of bounds to stop the clock with 1:44 to go. Out to the 42-yard line.
And Clay, what that play does, it allows your offense to have the belief that they're going to score again before halftime. 1:44 left to go. 2 timeouts remaining. Plenty of time for Joel Stavi to move his team down the field and get more points before halftime.
Got rid of it in time. Agumbawale out of the backfield. Spun down, but a gain of 8. Brad Ernst on the stop. Stavi will get him set quickly here. Clock running, under 1.5 minutes to go before the half. They're out near midfield now. 3 receivers to the left, 1 to the right. Stavi, Cox fires, it's complete. There's McAvoy. goodness. What a fun day this kid is having.
It is. It's fun to watch. It's fun to be up here watching a terrific athlete make plays on both sides of the football.
He is so dangerous one-on-one.
Come back to him again.
Stavi has time to throw. The underneath route to Agumbawale. He's got the first down and more, makes a man miss and gets to the 15-yard line. First down, Wisconsin. They are just gashing this Miami D, and now a timeout called by Wisconsin with 57 seconds to go before the half. College football primetime presented by Hilton. Coming up tonight at 6, number 19 Oklahoma taking on number 23 Tennessee. Then LSU in Starkville to take on the Bulldogs, number 14 and number 25. That's tonight on ESPN. Tennessee against the AP Top 25, 2-29 since Philip Fulmer left.
I think the biggest problem with Tennessee, what are they going to do on defense? Bowling Green chewed them up to the tune of 424 yards last week. You know, you're facing a guy in Mayfield, the quarterback for OU. He threw 3 touchdowns and almost 400 yards last week. So big challenge for the Vols at home.
After the timeout, first down Wisconsin. Gonna take a shot at the end zone. Caught! Another touchdown for the Badgers. It's Robert Wheelwright again. Boy, the offense really made it look easy on that drive, John.
They really did. Backed up in their own end. A couple of nice conversions on third down, and a big play by McAvoy sets this up. Another throw behind, back shoulder throw to the short side to Robert Wheelwright. He's owning that short side and that pass. Just a good job of allowing some separation and some room up on top for Stavi to deliver the football.
And it's 34-0. Nine plays, 93 yards. Wheelwright, his second touchdown catch today.
And what Stavi sees to the short side, he knows the safety can't make the play on it. You get man-to-man on the outside, and you just run that fade route. And watch what Wheelwright does. He presses inside, and then he gets past him. Good ball position on the outside by Stavi. So that's just a guy with a good rapport from quarterback to wide receiver, knowing you're going to give him a chance to come down with the football. And he doesn't lack confidence.
No. He's got 3 touchdown catches in the first 2 weeks of the season. And Stavi now 15 of 24, almost 200 yards on the day, and 3 touchdown passes.
He's been a complete quarterback today. Hasn't had a whole lot of help early in this game, so he relied on his right arm. He's been getting ample protection, but a good relationship by Erickson on the outside, McAvoy in there, Wheelwright for his second touchdown.
Coverage again by Wisconsin on the kick. McGinnis gets it back to the 23-yard line. And the leaders today for the Badgers, Stavi, Erickson, and Wheelwright.
Joel's been nice to watch, distributing the football at will. Erickson with 4, Wheelwright with 3. But you see the average. Over 15 for Erickson, close to 15 for Robert. Doing a nice job of just running the offense.
And, of course, we'd be remiss not to mention Tanner McAvoy. Yes. Is this something that Paul Chryst will continue to do, use him on both sides of the ball as much as we've seen today?
Why not?
Another one batted down by the Badgers front.
I think so, Clay. I think why not? Because if you can get the football in your best athlete's hands, just think when Corey Clement comes back into the lineup. Now you've got a running back who arguably is the best athlete on the team, and you put another one on the outside. More weapons for Joel Stavi.
Coomer Checking out that sideline, it's incomplete. There wasn't a lot of real estate there for Sam Martin, as Darius Hillary had him well covered. So it's 3rd down and 10, 35 seconds to go before half. If Wisconsin plays this right, they may still have quite a bit of time on the clock left if they can get the ball back.
You're right. This is one of these things that, you have to be careful here. If you're Miami, you're going to throw the football, it looks like, in an empty set. Protect the football.
Pressure. Incomplete. 4th down. Boy, Drew Coomer took a shot from Vince Beagle. And when he hits you, you stay hit.
Yes, there's no doubt about that. Beagle, a straight line coming off the edge. Nobody in the way. Nobody provides any form of protection, and that's a big shot to take as a quarterback.
Vince's brother Hayden is on the offensive line. Dad Rocky was a linebacker at BYU. It's in their blood for the Beagle boys to be playing football. 5th punt already today for Miami. Fair catch called for at the 34. There's a flag as the Miami coverage team runs into the return man. Boy, the special teams mistakes for Miami today have come in spades, as Joshua Allen got down there and laid a hit on Alex Erickson.
Interference. The kicking team, number 2. 15-yard penalty. 1st down.
As you said, Clay, the mistakes on special teams have been plentiful. Can't do this. You just avoid. The returner and Erickson's already given himself up with the fair catch signal. You avoid at all costs.
Another freshman jump.
Yes. Well, you mentioned with 62 on this roster.
So we'll see what Wisconsin decides to do here, leading 34-0. They've got 1 timeout left, 21 seconds to work with. Do they take a shot here?
Why not? You've got Wheelwright to the short side. He's been the guy that's owned the secondary of Miami.
He unleashes to the sideline. Caught by Wheelwright, gets out of bounds, stopping the clock. Very little time used there, 16 seconds to work with.
Still plenty of time with the timeout remaining. So you've got probably 3 offensive plays you can get off, especially if you utilize the sideline.
They're getting right into Gaglianone's wheelhouse at the very least. He's got a career long of 51.
You can still utilize the middle of the football field with that timeout remaining.
Stavi now feeling some heat, shrugs it off, throws it downfield to Wheelwright again. Stopping the clock with 9 seconds to go. And now they'll spot it at the 20.
Boy, really like Joel Stavi climbing in the pocket and avoiding that pressure from the backside. That allowed him to find a receiver on the perimeter.
Still have that timeout in their back pocket. Wheelwright to the top. Stavi, straight drop. Takes a shot toward the end zone. Wheelwright couldn't haul it in. Through his gloves, incomplete. 4 seconds to go before half.
Still a great job by Wisconsin, even though you don't come down with 6 points on that play. Wheelwright had it go through the wickets, but a good job by Stavi keeping drives alive, making plays, and getting this offense in position to score points.
Rafael Gaglianone, sophomore from Brazil, already has 2 makes today. This will be from 38. And that's how the half will end. Splits the uprights. They tack on 3 more. 37-0 Wisconsin here on Paul Christ's first home game as head coach of the Badgers.
Stavi's had himself a heck of a first half. 3 touchdowns on 225 yards. He's done a great job.
Brendan Fitzgerald, Kevin Carter in the studio. It's all Badgers at the half. You just saw him giving some second half instructions to Stavi. Miami's going to start with the football here in the second half, and again they will start at the 25. The run game It was 58 yards for the Badgers in the first half. Already better than what we saw in the Alabama game. We'll probably see those numbers increase here. This game already out of hand. They're going to pound the rock, I would think, here going forward.
What I like about Wisconsin offensively, they've been able to find the end zone. They've been able to convert on third down. They've controlled the tempo. And then on defense, only 6 first downs for Miami, 2 of 8 on third down. They've done a nice job of getting off the field.
Absolutely no running game for Miami so far in this one. They're going to throw on first down. It is Coomer, and he's nearly picked off. Nice catch by Jared Murphy, and then he gets upfield for a big play, and Miami has had very few of those this afternoon. It's an 18-yard pickup. First down and 10 at the 43.
I think Shelton, the corner, was surprised he wasn't going the other way.
Well, he took a chance there, and that's what they want him to do. Almost came away with a pick. Leonard Ross goes ahead for 3. Sojourn Shelton, no interceptions last year. And Dave Aranda told him, you can take some risks. He almost jumped that route. Caught at the 49 and then quickly wrapped up. The Miami receiver, Jared Murphy. It's Derek Tyndall in on the tackle. Good to see Tyndall back in there. He was shaken up in the first half for Wisconsin.
Yeah, another one of those playmakers in the secondary for the Badgers. Important for Miami to come out, and you want to be able to convert here on third down. Keep your offense on the field and establish something in this second half.
They converted 2 of 8 in the first half. This is Coomer setting to throw. He's hit, and it's incomplete. Boy, he took a crushing blow from behind. His blind side caved in on him. As Joe Schobert came in, he was all over the field last week, and he's making an impact here in week 2.
Well, that's one of the things Joe does so well, and that's rush the passer. He went right through the block of Leonard Ross to get to the quarterback, Coomer. He has a powerful move inside when he goes up and under either a tackle or a tight end, and that time a running back.
Schobert had 13 tackles, 4 for loss last week.
Pretty good day. Pretty good evening, yes.
6th punt of the day for Miami. They ran into the return man again, but no flags this time. Schobert, a quiet intellectual. He likes Harry Potter books, and he's very athletic, as you can see.
Apparently, he can go left-handed with the dunk after he goes through the legs. I mean, this is an athlete. I mean, we've seen him rush the passer. We've seen him be stout in the run game. And there's no wonder why he has the nickname Sinatra. The guy's cool as it comes.
Very smooth. His roommate Vince Beagle, he is the exact opposite. Wears his emotions on his sleeve, very loud. Thrown in the flat, there's McAvoy. He is cut down at the 20-yard line. Nice open field tackle. Bert Birdsall, the sophomore corner, came in to make the hit. So McAvoy getting a touch here in the third quarter as a receiver. He has taken a snap or 2 at quarterback. And he had an interception in the first half that led to a Wisconsin touchdown. A lot of running room for Agumbawale. First down and more to the 35. Again, no Corey Clement today. Sitting out with that groin injury. He's in street clothes. And Deal and Agumbawale have done the lion's share of the work in the Wisconsin backfield.
One of the first runs we've seen, and I know the score is 37-0, but one of the first runs that there hasn't been a whole lot of traffic at the line of scrimmage. Seems like that time Agumbawale was able to hit it with some type of speed at the line of scrimmage.
Agumbawale will try his game on this side. He gets to the 43, but a marker is down.
Looked like the call was away from the play.
During the play, personal foul. Block below the waist, number 70. 15-yard penalty from the spot of the foul.
One of the returning starters, Dan Volz, the center. But it's pretty obvious, John, that the offensive line is still working through some things. They got 3 new starters up there. It wasn't a good debut last week against Alabama. And at times it's been a little spotty here today as well.
Well, it's a work in progress. I think you go and you have a couple positive plays and then you have a penalty or you miss an assignment and it kind of rears its ugly head again. That's one of the things where you want to make improvement from week 1 to week 2, and I think they have. It just hasn't been as big as they would have liked so far.
Inside handoff to Deal. And any daylight that was there closes quickly. Gain of maybe 2. Last week, John, an offensive line opened up holes that, like that play, closed quickly. They only had 1 run over 5 yards against Alabama.
And that's not Wisconsin football on the ground. That's not what they do. They're able to create creases for running backs to be able to hit the line with authority. We've only seen that a couple of times this afternoon.
2nd and 21, Stavy to throw. That's Erickson to the 33-yard line. Marshall Taylor, who had an interception in the first half, makes the stop.
Nice play on 2nd and long, because now with that reception and good protection, it gives Stavy an opportunity to convert on 3rd down. 3rd and 13, but still a better opportunity than where they were at on 2nd down.
Stats at 60% today on 3rd down, 6 of 10. Pressure coming off the edge. Stavy hit, shrugs it off, got it away, incomplete. Austin Traylor was the intended receiver, couldn't haul it in. 4th down. Stavy was lucky to get rid of that in time.
There again, he had to avoid pressure. Had a defender draped around him, was big enough at 6'5" to throw him off. In a conversation that happens a lot in the last couple of weeks with head coach Paul Chryst, he says he likes that dynamic of his quarterback being able to talk to him when he comes off the sidelines very calmly and getting their points across.
Jared Murphy standing at the 25 for Miami to return this punt. Calls for the fair catch. And he makes it at the 20-yard line. 10:23 to go, 3rd quarter, 37-0 Bucky. No grand slam for Serena. Roberta Vinci will meet Flavia Pennetta in an all-Italian women's final at the U.S. Open. The championship Saturday at 3 on ESPN, also streaming live on Watch ESPN. Coverage presented by Mercedes-Benz. So 2 long shots in the final. They're already calling that, John, the biggest upset in tennis history.
It very well could be. I mean, it was a great match yesterday.
Vince Beagle again. Knocking down Rakeem Williams in the backfield. That's a loss of 6.
Beagle finding his way into the opposition backfield. He does a good job of staying at home and just waiting for the ball carrier. Had leverage from outside in, and that's what you want to do at that outside linebacker position.
2nd down and 16. Miami backed up inside their own 15-yard line. The 5th-year senior Drew Coomer throws it incomplete. Tanner McAvoy there in coverage for the Badgers, as Sam Martin was the intended man.
And it looked like Tanner was going to get his hands on the football again. This time on the defensive side, he already has that interception earlier in the football game. You can really tell he's an asset to the secondary with the ground that he can cover from the safety position.
Signed with South Carolina in 2011. And McAvoy transferred to junior college at Arizona Western. And he's been a do-it-all guy here in Madison since coming here. And another sack. Joe Schobert. The senior from Waukesha having a great start to his senior year.
The odd couple's at it once again. First it's Beagle, and then it's Schobert coming from the backside. A terrific job of again, finding the quarterback, and that's what he does well. He rushes the passer so well. He's able to contort his shoulder pads, move around, and find the quarterback.
So Schobert is the Tony Randall character to Beagles' Jack Klugman.
I was going to let you go there, partner. Thank you.
Punting from the end zone. Christian Cook. Is Erickson doing a dance? Gets away, reverses field. Inside the 20-yard line. The punter has to make the tackle. Again, the emphasis that Paul Chryst puts on special teams, we're seeing that be very evident here in the first 2 games of the year.
Paying dividends early in the season with his influence on that side of the football.
Great field position again for the Badgers.
ESPNU College Football All-State Saturday Kickoff. Brought to you by Bass Pro Shops. Your adventure starts here. And the Venture Card from Capital One. Earn unlimited double miles you can use on any airline, anytime.
Glorious weather for this home opener for the Badgers here in Madison, Wisconsin. This is their 4th drive that starts inside the Miami 20-yard line. And it's a run play. Agumbawale stumbling, stays on his feet, down to the 1-yard line. Dare Agumbawale, the junior from Milwaukee, getting a lot of playing time today because Corey Clement is out with that groin injury, and he's got a 1st down and goal now for Wisconsin.
And after that individual effort, don't you have to give it to Dare one more time inside the 1? He's had a lot more on his plate today than normal, as you said, with Clement out, but a great individual effort and balance, keeping his feet to get the Badgers inside the 1.
Rule him down just short. Agumbawale gets it to the goal line, but not across. And he'll come out majoring in biomedical engineering. His dad, Greg, was a standout soccer player in Nigeria. Terrific family. Taiwan Hill checks in. He'll hear his name called. Touchdown, Wisconsin. Their 5th red zone touchdown today.
Clay, it's either been special teams or defense setting the table for this offense. And Taiwan Deal, the redshirt freshman, goes in from inside the 1-yard line. 43 unanswered for the Badgers.
Another extra point for Gaglianone. And it's 44-0. Tonight at 7, ESPNU brings you college football primetime. Ball State taking on number 16 Texas A&M. That's exclusively on the U. And it'll be the first game at the newly renovated Kyle Field.
That's right.
They have done some great work there. $485 million poured into that renovation. And it's now 103,000 capacity, the largest stadium in the SEC.
So there's more room for the 12th man.
That's right.
Saying.
That's right.
All right.
Taiwan Deal scoring Wisconsin's first points of the second half. 1-yard touchdown run. It's 44-0. Kenny Young from inside the 5 brings it back, runs into a wall at the 18, and he is stunned. Great coverage. Brookins in on the hit. As Wisconsin special teams has really stood out here today. And so has the defense. I mean, the run game for Miami has been completely shut out.
Negative 15 yards today. That rivals what they did in 07 to Northern Illinois and in 05 to Temple. They're on their way to have an historic day in rush defense. This defense has been outstanding. They've been winning the battle at the point of attack, and when Miami, Ohio quarterbacks go back to throw the football, they felt pressure from both sides.
Billy Ball is going to come back in at quarterback. Chuck Martin told us we might see 3 quarterbacks today. We have not seen Gus Ragland, their Wildcat QB. Spencer McGinnis gets the carry. And again, very little running room. Darius Hillary in on the stop for the Badgers.
When you look at Miami of Ohio offensively, they're going to have to find something during this season to be able to complement what they can do throwing the football. I know they've taken a step up maybe in class and in weight from that front 7, but they're going to have to find some kind of running ability to complement what they can do throwing the football.
2nd down and 9. The true freshman hands off. And again, McGinnis, the veteran of that backfield. The junior out of Michigan, lucky to get back to the line of scrimmage. And Sheehy made the stop. It's been a struggling program in recent years. Miami Redhawks, 8 losing seasons in the last 9. But they got 2 wins last year. 2 wins better than the year before. They were 0-12 in 2013. 3rd down and 9. Ball gets away from the rush. Throws on the run. It's complete along the sideline. And I think that's going to be short of the 1st down for Fred McRae.
I'm not so sure Fred knew where the sticks were that time.
Yeah.
They were right in front of him, but he steps out, and it looked like Billy Ball took a little bit off of it, so McRae could kind of go forward and get the easy 1st down.
They mark about 2 yards shy of the 1st down marker. And Erickson's going to get a chance at another punt return. He took it inside the 20 on his last return.
And they've been more of low line drive kicks that have played right into the hands of Erickson.
8th punt for Christian Cook. This one backs Erickson off inside the 30. Finds a seam up the middle, tries to spin out of a tackle, and he's brought down at about the 38. Well, tomorrow from 8 a.m. until noon, ESPNU is the place to be to recap the weekend in college football, from Heisman hopefuls to championship contenders. College Football Sunday is the only show that ranks them all. That's exclusively on the U. AP Top 10. Ohio State very impressive in week 1, taking on Hawaii today. Alabama, might say, has a light week against Middle Tennessee after that win last week over Wisconsin.
Clay, what's going on with Auburn today? Jacksonville State
Giving them a rub.
Absolutely.
It's presented by Capital One. Big one tonight, Michigan State, Oregon on ABC. It's going to start at 8 Eastern. The only matchup between 2 top 10 teams this week. Man down for Miami. Nick Walter. Walter, the long snapper, down to cover that kick. Dinged up in doing so.
Might be a neck or shoulder injury. It looks like that's where the attention's being given. There's Walter right there. See if he gets blocked from behind with the helmet or the shoulder right there.
Dakota Dixon throwing that hit. It looks like Walter's nodding. He's going to be all right. New quarterback for Wisconsin. Bart Houston, the junior from Dublin, California. Did not play last week against Alabama. Played sparingly in 6 games last year. Gets an opportunity with over 5 minutes to play in the 3rd quarter. Hands off to Deal. He's down. In the backfield, there's also 2 penalty flags down.
Again, these penalties well behind where the ball was running out towards the Wisconsin bench.
There are personal fouls by both teams. Personal foul, clipping, 62 offense. Personal foul, hands to the face, number 90 defense. Fouls offset, replay the down. First down.
Right guard Walker Williams for Wisconsin, defensive end Dean Lemon for Miami. And you hope that this is not a sign of things to come here in a 44-0 ball game.
And it's easily, when you take a look at the scoreboard and you know the run's coming for those interior linemen on both sides to kind of get after each other.
Bart Houston, a true pocket passer. Parents named him after a Wisconsin sports legend, Bart Starr. There's a completion to the 43-yard line. Wheelwright, who's had a nice day, makes the catch.
And Clay, he's been the surprise for me offensively for Wisconsin today. Didn't talk much about Robert, his ability to dominate on the outside, but he's been able to create space in the secondary of Miami and find the end zone.
Wheelwright, 6 catches now, 79 yards, 2 touchdowns. Taiwan Deal, lone setback behind Houston, who's under center. Good experience for him, as Stavi appears to be done for the day. This first down run for Deal.
Taiwan Deal on the carry.
Stavi today, 19 of 30, 236 yards, 3 touchdown passes, tying a career high. He did throw an interception, but seemed to have everything in control in game 2 of the year.
He looked like he had not only control of the pass offense, but the pocket. He was able to maneuver his body around and avoid pressure to be able to get the football to his playmakers on the outside. And that's what you like to see, his progression from week 1 to week 2. And you expect that out of Stavi.
Been starting off and on since 2012, went over 5,000 career passing yards last week. Moved into 4th on the all-time passing list at Wisconsin here in this game. They get Taiwan Deal over to the sideline. He'll be checked out further there. They don't need any more running backs to go down with injuries.
No,
Clement's
that's
still not healthy.
Last position you want to see guys go out of the game.
Agunbawale looking for room on the outside, finds some, and it's a good run on first down. He'll pick up close to 9 as Brad Ernst, the weak side linebacker, had to hustle to track him down.
You hope Taiwan Deal, the redshirt freshman, can bounce back in a game now that's well lopsided, but I think it gives opportunity to others to take some of that responsibility away if Clement's out for another week with that groin injury. And all indications say that he'll be back, but to provide some depth at that running back position.
Play fake. Houston rolling out. Throws on the run. Good arm strength. But he missed Tanner McAvoy. You can see why they like Houston's arm. This wasn't very accurate on that throw. So it's 3rd and 1.
Another good route on the outside by McAvoy. And you can tell why they want to utilize his skills on both sides of the football today. Comes up with a big play on defense with the interception, a couple of big hits from the secondary, and then a couple of nice run after catch opportunities on offense. There again, he was wide open.
Agunbawale first down to the 35. Corey Clement has had a tough start to his year, where he is now the feature back after Heisman runner-up Melvin Gordon turned pro. Almost 1,000 yards last year as the number 2. His goal is no less than 2,000. But it's going to be hard. Yeah, after 2 weeks where he essentially has nothing. Agunbawale again finds a big hole on the right side. Nobody's going to catch him. Touchdown, Wisconsin. A 35-yard run for Dare Agunbawale.
Clay, we haven't seen many chunk yardage runs out of this Badger team today, but that was one. Agumbawale finally finds some room on the right side and goes 35 untouched for 6.
Jack Russell comes on for that extra point. Longest run of the day for Wisconsin.
Get the big fellas out in front of you. Volts did a nice job, as well as Walker Williams. Couple kick-out blocks and a seal. That allows Dari to go virtually untouched. 35 yards out for the score.
Dari Agumbawale put on scholarship this year. You know that had to feel good for that
Good
young
story.
man from Milwaukee.
Absolutely. And he's going to be that third down back. Once Corey Clement gets back into his normal routine, he catches the football well out of the backfield. You can tell he's good in space, and it gives Wisconsin a different type of back that they can rely on third down situations.
The goal line. And out to the 20-yard line, McGinnis on that return for the Redhawks. You can stream every game live at home or on the go, as my partner does. Just
Absolutely.
download the Watch ESPN app or visit watchespn.com. What would we do without that in the airport?
Not much.
Twiddle our thumbs.
You know, you find a nice, cozy place to sit down, and whatever's on at 3:30, and after that, you're watching on ESPN or Watch ESPN.
And you know, for week 2 of the college football season, which is notorious for a lot of, well, unfortunate games like this, there are a lot of big matchups this week. Not the least of which, Michigan State and Oregon. Raheem Williams, a big play for Miami. He almost busted loose. Got out close to midfield. Caputo tracked him down. These are the games coming up at 3:30 across the networks. Notre Dame and Virginia. Ole Miss at home against Fresno State. And Washington State and Rutgers. Rutgers won that matchup last year. That one's on the U coming up after us. Leonard Ross gets it across midfield. Miami has not been into plus territory very much here today.
No, they have not. They have not been able to stack back-to-back positive plays offensively for a long time now. You know, one of the goals for them is, no matter what the score was today, head coach Chuck Martin wanted to see some improvement. This team get better in some way, in some aspect.
We started to see glimmers of that last week against FCS Presbyterian. Much tougher challenge here today, obviously. It's going to bring up 3rd down and 1 after that run by Ross.
I think one of the good things they've seen is Billy Ball, their quarterback, their freshman, their 18-year-old, get more playing time than maybe you or I thought he would get today. We knew we would see him, but he's been able to throw the football fairly effectively.
He'll throw it here. And it's complete. He threaded it in there between 2 defenders. Caught by Sam Martin for a 1st down to the 30-yard line.
Sam Martin had no choice but to catch that football. That was a rocket from the young freshman.
Ball now 8 of 17 for 105 yards. He was intercepted in the first half. Good running room here for Ross. And Miami's moving the football as they get it to the 24.
And now they're putting some back-to-back plays together, positive plays in the passing game, complemented by 2 runs in this drive.
Miami picked to finish 6th out of the 7 teams in the MAC East. Play fake. Ball lobs it to the end zone, looking for Hudson, the big receiver, and it's incomplete. Shelton in on the coverage. And that's how they're going to use Hudson this year. They're going to throw it up a lot of times and hoping the 6'6" receiver can bring it down.
The problem right now with Hudson on the outside is he cannot create any type of separation from Shelton or Hillary, the two smaller corners. Now, he's got a big frame, but he's going to have to work on his ability to get off the line of scrimmage a little bit cleaner to provide a window to throw the football.
Pre-snap penalty here.
Ball start. Offense. Number 82. 5-yard penalty. Still third down.
Tight end Ryan Smith, and that's what happens with such a young team. Chuck Martin really lamenting the fact they had 13 penalties last week for 162 yards against in a game that they won handily against an FCS opponent, but it reflected really poorly upon themselves.
Well, when you have such young players on both sides of the football, even on special teams, that's one of the things it's good to get on tape so you can try to correct that in weeks to come.
So now 3rd and long. Ball again lobs it up for Hudson, and this time it's intercepted. Leo Musso having a great day. That's the fourth turnover, I should say, for Miami today.
4 turnovers, and this defensive secondary has really been the beneficiary of pressure in the pocket. Again, pressure from the outside forces this into double coverage, and Musso comes down with the interception.
His second interception.
Looked like Hudson mistimed his jump. He was up early, and Musso up late comes down with the football.
He's undersized, 5'10", 186. You'll see a lot of free safeties that are under 6 feet tall, but he is a ball hawk.
He is. He's always around the football.
So that drive, which was going quite well for Chuck Martin's team, makes a thud inside the 5-yard line. They'll hand it off to Agumbawale. And maybe touchdown run in the last series. He'll get some breathing room for this Wisconsin offense. And that's how the 3rd quarter ends. No Corey Clement, no problem. Taiwan Deal and Dare Agumbawale have had a pretty good day for the Badgers. They lead it big in Madtown. All right, Brendan, they just jumped around.
They did.
Here in Madison, 51-0. I wonder if that registers on the Richter scale.
It might.
Yeah, it's like a small earthquake.
Camp Randall's holding up pretty well, buddy.
Nobody leaves until after that, no matter how out of hand the game is. Dare Agumbawale on that carry. Wisconsin won 11 games last year, including a win over Auburn in the Outback Bowl, John. And were picked to win the Big Ten West again. Not out to a great start after the loss to Alabama. Maybe some concerns, but Paul Chryst says all the goals we had set for ourselves are still out there to be achieved.
They are, and that's a good thing for a head coach coming back to where he coached and where he played and where he's from, to kind of set the precedent. You know, they went out and they maybe got too engulfed with the game that they were playing against the Crimson Tide instead of worrying about what they were doing as a football team. And I think this was a good week to come home. You dominate a team that you feel like you should, but you put more on tape to go back and critique yourself, to self-scout yourself, and to move on for the rest of the season.
Paul Chryst wanted to see marked improvement in every single area of the team in week 2. So far, it's been a very memorable first home game as head coach of this program. Caleb Kinlaw getting some touches here in the 4th quarter. There are the players jumping around in between the third and fourth quarter.
Robert Wheel right in the middle of that. Could have probably called that. He's been around the end zone all afternoon. He leads his team on the sidelines as well.
One of the great traditions in college football, the jump around by House of Pain, and that's what this place has been today.
It has been.
For Miami. Bart Houston still working at quarterback here for Wisconsin. Stavi's day is over. False start here.
False start. Number 52 offense. 5-yard penalty.
Houston, a good-looking quarterback. The junior, 6'4", 224. Got to have somebody ready should an unfortunate situation present itself down the line. They're going to get into the teeth of that Big Ten season here in a few weeks.
Well, you can tell his arm strength is there. You know, the experience may be lacking in playing time, but he looks like he has a handle on throwing the football when he gets the chance.
Tried to avoid the rush and eventually brought down Ikeem Allen with the sack. It's a loss of 7 on the play, and it's 4th down.
The one thing Miami, Ohio's defense has been able to do is rush the passer. They've been able to move Stavi off of his point most of the afternoon, and they finally get to Bart Houston, does Allen, and then Allen, it's 51-0. Doesn't matter. My man's going to celebrate.
That's an interesting celebration. You get knocked down by a teammate.
That's right.
Drew Meyer, excuse me. Hits it. Checks up at the 43-yard line, and we'll be back in a moment. 12:27 to go.
ESPNU College Football All-State Saturday Kickoff, brought to you by Allstate, proud supporters of college football. Are you in good hands? And Bass Pro Shops, your adventure starts here.
Clay Matvick and John Kingemi back at Madison. 12:27 to go here in the fourth quarter. 51-0. This drive for Miami starting in Wisconsin territory. Their first drive to do so today. As Ross gets the carry, takes it to the 38-yard line. As Miami now has 5 total yards rushing today.
That's been a sore spot from the beginning of this football game, trying to establish the line of scrimmage for Miami's offense. They've been able to throw the football fairly effectively, but 3 turnovers through the air has really turned this game around early. And there you see the rush yardage. Wisconsin over 150, and Miami barely getting over 5.
And the interceptions today for this Wisconsin defense have led to scoring. 3 picks. First time they've had 3 interceptions in a game since November of 2011, the game against Illinois. That is Ross for a gain of 1. It'll be 3rd down. There's Billy Ball, the true freshman. The Red Hawks. He's got over 100 yards passing, but he's been intercepted twice. He's learning as he goes here. There's no doubt he's the quarterback of the future.
And the bigger picture is, Clay, that he's been able to get ample playing time, get some experience early in this season to see how that works him into the starting rotation as the games move along.
Should have been caught. Ross can't haul it in. And it's 4th down. And Miami's going to keep the offense on the field.
Give the 18-year-old freshman quarterback another opportunity to try to get his Red Hawks offense in the end zone for his head coach, Chuck Martin.
Martin trying to revive a once proud program. Miami has more conference wins, MAC titles, and bowl wins than any team in conference history. It's just they've been down for a while. 4th and 5. Ball pumps and incomplete. Sojourn in on the coverage. Martin, the intended receiver, and Wisconsin will take it over. 10:53 to go. We're going to step aside in Madison. Wisconsin wanted all aspects of their game to come together in week 2, John. We have seen that for the most part. Maybe a couple of things that they'll nitpick, but all in all, a pretty good day for the Badgers. There's a completion for Bart Houston to Jordan Frederick. Let's take a look at our Taco Bell game track. It has been dominating.
Stave.
The Miami run game has been non-existent, and Stave has been terrific.
Yeah, he has been terrific. He's been accurate. He's been on time. He's been able to make himself a presence in the pocket. And I think he bought himself some time, and Will Wright emerged out of nowhere, almost 80 yards, receiving 2 touchdowns. And you said it right at the top, this defense of Wisconsin shutting down the Miami running game.
Derek Strauss getting some carries as Wisconsin is going deep into the bench. Now here in a 51-0 game as there's a penalty marker down. We got Stave tying a career high with the 3 touchdown passes. Agumba Wale, career high for rushing yards with 112, and Corey Clements absent. So some really good things from some players today.
After the play, personal foul, face mask, number 23 defense, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Really thought Stave held his own today. You know, it was a frustrating loss on a big stage against the Crimson Tide, but he and his playmaker on the outside there next to Alex Erickson, they found some rhythm early. They got Robert Wheelwright involved. They got the running game, spurts of that. You had the 35-yarder, Agumba Wale on a long for a touchdown. So a lot of guys got involved. McAvoy got his hands on the football, played both sides. So a lot of good stories for Wisconsin coming out of their home opener.
Kinlaw on that run. There's a favorable schedule ahead for Wisconsin. They've got games at Nebraska and at Minnesota. They appear to be the most challenging games for the Badgers in the Big Ten. They avoid Ohio State and Michigan State this year out of the East. If the Badgers win the Big Ten West, which they are favored to do, it'll be their 4th title game in the first 5 years of that event. And again, that loss on opening day against Alabama is behind them. Every goal they have set for themselves is still achievable.
Absolutely. And you mentioned the 2 teams they avoid in Michigan State and Ohio State. You couldn't pick 2 that you would want to take off your schedule more on their way to maybe representing the West.
Jordan Frederick, the senior from right here in Madison, picks up 14. So they've got a couple of non-conference games ahead before they get into that Big Ten schedule. Is there somebody in that league, John, that maybe we're not talking about that you think could surprise some people?
You may have Minnesota down the road. It depends on where you play, the type of environment that you're in. I'm not so sure if Iowa, could sneak up on people if you don't play your game that day.
Stretch play. Kinlaw again.
I think it'll be interesting, too, the Nebraska matchup. I think that will be one that you circle if you're Wisconsin. Those 3, to me, would be the ones I would circle on their schedule because each game probably involves a different hurdle depending on where your team's at in that aspect of their season.
Caleb Kinlaw, the redshirt freshman out of Goose Creek, South Carolina, getting some touches here in the 4th quarter. 8 minutes to play. Houston hands off. And Kinlaw shows some power. And it'll bring up 3rd down and short. Corey Clement, considered a player in that preseason Heisman race. But after a poor game 1, of course he was dinged up, was dealing with the groin injury and an abdomen problem last week, and no action today. There he is in street clothes. And with really no high-profile games left on the schedule, can he still get into that Heisman race, John?
He would have to have an outstanding burst at some point throughout the season where you stack game after game after game over 200 yards, 150 yards rushing, 4 touchdowns. It's not impossible, but I think more importantly for Corey is doing that for the team goals. And if you achieve those things, he set out to rush for over 2,000 yards, or at least 2,000 yards this year. Well, that's probably still out there. It's a long shot after really having a down game one in terms of yards and not playing in game two. So reset your goals. Reset what you can do to help this team put back-to-back victories together and string out and try to get to 10 wins.
Kinlaw working hard on this drive, gets it to the 10. Clement, almost 1,000 yards last year. Gordon rushed for almost 2,600 yards. I don't see that 1-2 combination this year, but we've certainly seen some good things from Ogunbowale.
We have. We've seen some presence behind Corey, which is good. And Ogunbowale and Deal, and now you see Kinlaw and Strauss. They have some backs that are here that can pick up the slack if you have a down day or an injury at the position to your premier running back.
And this play is stopped.
Delay game. Offense, number 13. 5-yard penalty.
A lot of penalties
Second
today.
down.
That's one thing that Paul Chryst was happy with after looking at the Alabama tape. No pre-snap penalties for the Badgers, but we've seen a few more here today. But the way everything's gone in every other aspect, I don't think he's going to be too upset about his first home game as head coach of this program.
No, but that's one right there that a former quarterback never likes to see.
Right.
A delay a game, especially when the game's out of hand. You want your guy in there managing the clock because that's your main job at this point in the game.
Kinlaw racing to the outside, hit hard, stopped short of the first down, driven out with 5:26 to go.
Some of the guys in that huddle that really go unnoticed. Derek Watt, the fullback. Those guys have been providing some pretty good running lanes in this second half as this score has escalated to 51.
He was involved a lot in the passing game last week. We haven't seen much from him today. Wide open is Kinlaw. Touchdown, Wisconsin. Boy, he was all alone, and Bart Houston couldn't help but hit him.
That's one you dream about at this point. When you're a quarterback coming into a game, you want to get the football into the end zone. And couldn't be any more wide open than Kinlaw. A bust in coverage by Miami leads to the 57th point for Wisconsin.
Jack Russell on for the second time to kick the extra point. From Waunakee, Wisconsin, the senior boots it through, and it's 58-0, Badgers.
A wide open running back. No one picks up in a white jersey. That's just a bust in coverage. A linebacker had to slide out with Caleb to the short side of the field. He doesn't, and it's an easy throw to the front pylon of the end zone.
Miami's defensive coordinator, Matt Pawlowski, in his second year on the job, said to us before the game, we're just trying to keep it simple, play as fast as we can. The focus is going to be more on self-improvement than it is on beating the Badgers. And really, for the first quarter and change, they were right there keeping Wisconsin in check. They forced a lot of third downs. They got off the field fairly timely, and then this just got away from them.
Well, I think in the beginning of this football game, as you pointed out correctly, the front seven played up to Wisconsin. I mean, they played right with them. It was very hard sledding on the ground for the Badgers against Miami's front seven. They did a good job of forcing a couple of 3-and-outs, a couple of third down stands, and I think special teams and the turnovers really turned the football game. They teed up Wisconsin 4 times inside the 20-yard line, all leading to points.
Maryland 20, Bowling Green 13. Also in the fourth, Penn State 27, Buffalo 7. The fourth quarter, Purdue 31, Indiana State 14.
Everybody getting into the act here for Wisconsin today as they lead it now 58-0. Caleb Kinlaw, a redshirt freshman running back, wide open for reception, takes it into the end zone from junior quarterback Bart Houston.
no one's going to come outside. It should be a linebacker or a free safety coming out for coverage. They don't get it done, and it's an easy throw for Bart Houston. Looked like the linebacker was supposed to come outside in man coverage. It's a busted coverage is what happens, and an easy touchdown for Wisconsin.
He's former Pitt quarterback John Congemi. I'm Clay Matvick here in Madison. Home opener for the Badgers, and this team, under first-year head coach Paul Chryst, wanted to see improvement in every stage of the game. Wanted to establish an identity. Have we seen that from the Badgers? Are we starting to see what Paul Chryst has in mind for this team in 2015?
I think we're closer. I think he would admit there's a lot of good things that are on tape that he can watch tonight and tomorrow, but still a lot of good coaching points. I still think that offensive line is not where you want it to be, and it's not where it needs to be to win in the Big Ten Conference consistently. I think the defense flew around today, so that's one of the aspects they're going to take away from playing against Miami today, and defensive coordinator Dave Aranda is going to like what he saw on the defensive side in terms of movement, in terms of turning the football over.
Yeah, 3 turnovers, 3 interceptions. Only had 17 turnovers forced last year. Tanner McAvoy has been terrific. Here's our All-State good hands play. We're going to see Tanner on both sides of the ball in this highlight.
Nice scoop on the outside playing offense, and then defensively he steps right in front of a pass and tees up the offense in the red zone inside the 10-yard line for an eventual touchdown by the Badgers. So McAvoy doing it on both sides of the football.
Wisconsin ranked 94th in the country in forced turnovers last year. A big emphasis for Dave Aranda this year. And to get 3 in one game after none last week, it's going to give that defense a boost, John.
It really is, and that was one of the focal points, catching the football in the secondary. Last year, a lot of interceptions were left on the football field. Today, they dropped one and came right back the next play with a big play for an interception. So Wisconsin well on their way on that side of the football.
Dave Aranda stayed on after Gary Anderson left for Oregon State. He's got some young kids, young family. They love Madison. It was a pretty easy decision for him, even though he's got West Coast ties. And he has been a great fit here in Madison with his 3-4 scheme. Their tackle for loss. Spencer McGinnis dropped. That's a loss of 3. Ryan Connolly, the former walk-on, and inside linebacker makes the stop. There's Dave Aranda, now in his 3rd year here in Madison.
He likes guys to fly around. I think week 1 against Alabama, they tried to do too much. They put too much in and tried to cover so many things that Alabama could do on offense. This week, I think the focus was on them, what they do well, and trying to critique some of the mistakes from week 1. It worked out well for Dave and his team.
9th tackle for loss for this Wisconsin defense today. That's the Miami running game in a nutshell. That time Kellen Jones, number 52, in on the stop.
This Miami offense has taken the brunt of the punishment, and it's been dished out with guys in red jerseys today. They've been going forward and making a lot of plays at and behind the line of scrimmage.
Erickson's still out there returning punts.
I don't know about that one. He's too valuable a playmaker. I'd rather have somebody else getting some experience at that position.
He's going to let this bounce. Paul Chryst says, you know, my starters are going to play special teams.
Oh, yeah.
2:34 to go. Said it earlier that Wisconsin wanted to get that taste of that opening day loss to Alabama out of their mouths, and they've done that today. 58-0 here late in the 4th. Wisconsin's going to go to 1-1. Look forward to their matchup with Troy next week.
I would think next week would be a building block again, Clay. When you take a look at this schedule, you have Troy, Hawaii, then you get into the Big Ten, Iowa. So you're going to stay in Camp Randall for the next couple of weeks as you improve your team, as you try to find that identity and bottle whatever good you can on both sides of the football, along with special teams, to move into that bulk of your schedule.
Houston hands off. Mark Sarian in that carry as the clock winds under minute 40 seconds to play. Wisconsin's streak of non-conference home wins is going to run to 33. Only LSU has a longer current streak, 43 wins. Of course, LSU in Starkville tonight, another big top 25 matchup, LSU and Mississippi State.
That should be a great game. LSU not playing in week 1 with the cancellation due to the weather, so their quarterback questions with Brandon Harris still there.
Sorry again. Tackled at the 30. And for Miami, they host Cincinnati next week, then at Western Kentucky. Western Kentucky's been impressive early on in the season. And they'll start league play at Kent State. Bowling Green, the favorite in the East this year. Northern Illinois, Toledo, Western Michigan favorites in that very competitive MAC West.
A tough 3-week stretch for Miami, as you said, until they get into league play, but that's where they have an opportunity to excel.
"12 seconds to go." Brendan Fitzgerald, Kevin Carter standing by in the studio, ready to update you on the day's events up to this point. Get you set for the rest of the day on ESPNU, which includes Washington State and Rutgers after we're done, and some big games tonight. Of course, Michigan State and Oregon in East Lansing. There's Caputo. Michael Caputo, number 7. That is cage rattled last week. Spent this past week recovering from a concussion. Played well today.
Played a lot today, which was good to see.
"58-0 Wisconsin. Win number 1 in the head coaching career for Paul Chryst at his alma mater.
Yeah, great to see him back right here where he belongs.
And a good day for his quarterback. For John, I'm Clay. We say so long from Madison. Here's Brendan and Kevin in the studio.